Howdy, my name's Sean with CBR, and we are at New York Comic Con 2022, and we are speaking with Joshua Williamson. How you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I am terrific.
Awesome.
So you've been busy, to say the least, over the last year and a half or so.
A lot going on.
Yeah. So you had Robin, Batman, Infinite Frontier. Too many things for me to count. But now you're writing Superman.
Yeah, I'm very excited about writing Superman, yeah. So coming out of Dark Crisis, that'll be the big book I'm doing, is Superman #1. There's other stuff we haven't announced yet, but Superman #1 is going to be a really big one.
Now, walk me through. How did this come about?
When we were working on Dark Crisis, it was a long time ago. It was long before Dark Crisis even started coming out. We were just talking about what am I going to do next, and we threw a couple different ideas around. But to me, so much of what Dark Crisis is about is adding and growing to the mythology of the DCU. And part of the theme of it was we were going to do this whole very darkest before the dawn. And now we're entering the dawn, right? Like we're entering this era where it's going to be a much more bright future for DC that is about including everything. You know, like I always think the DCU works its best when all of the mythology is being included, right? And we're also introducing new things. And so to me, it was like, well, if we're going into this new future for the DCU, like who should lead us there? And the answer is Superman. Like it has to be Superman. So I knew coming out of Dark Crisis, there was only one book I could do. And so when DC came to me and they're like, well, do you want to do Superman next? I thought about it for a weekend, like to be honest, I thought about it for a weekend. And by the end of that weekend, I was like, no, I have this. I have a massively large plan for Superman, and I'm really excited.
All right. Now, what do you want to accomplish with your Superman run?
Oh, that's a good question. I think with Superman, I mean, it might be ego-driven to be like, well, I want to have an iconic book, but I think at the end of the day, I just want to have fun. You know, I want to have fun. I want the artists. I'm working with Jamal Campbell and Nick Nergott. I want them to have fun. And then I want the readers, when they read it, to feel that same fun that we're having. There's a couple different themes running through it, but one of the bigger themes is going to be that, you know, a hero is only as good as their villain. And Superman has this amazing rogues gallery that I don't think is to be really utilized. And I want to show why they're Superman villains, right? Like, Superman is the best, right? He's supposed to be the greatest superhero of all time. The villains should reflect that, right? So I want to test him and test that concept using his villains. And so that's going to be a running theme throughout it. And Lex Luthor plays a major role in the book. And so there's a lot of stuff we're doing. I would say I really want it to be a very bright, fun book. But we're also going to put Superman through some ringers.
You know, you're hitting like a lot of the points in my cards already. I was going to ask, like, what villains are you excited to play with?
I mean, I love Lex Luthor. Like, I think he is this beautiful, broken egomaniac. He's, you know, kind of an awful person. I mean, jerk always feels like an understatement with him. But I love writing him. I love writing jerk characters. I'm not sure why. That might be something I need to research on a personal level, but I love jerk characters. But I've always liked Lex Luthor, and I think that with Lex, one of the things that's going to happen, and we've already kind of established this in the DCU, is that Lex has realized finally that the world needs Superman. But for someone like Lex Luthor, the egomaniac that he is, to realize the world needs Superman, what has to happen to get him there? And then how does he react to that? And one of the ways he reacts to it, he's like, okay, if the world is going to need Superman, then they're going to get my Superman. And so what does that mean, and how does Lex do that? That's going to be a major part of the story. The first 3 issues, we're going to be using Parasite, and I'm going to do shorter arcs. I feel like in some ways, like the cartoon, like the Super Animated series is probably close in tone to some of what we're doing. I'm going to do a lot of shorter, like Monster of the Month style arcs, so like a 3 arc, a 2 arc, a 3, you know, shorter stuff before you build to something bigger. As you can see, I have a very large plan for this. But like the first 3 issues are called Night of the Parasites. Issues 4 and 5 are called So I Married a Supervillain. And that'll have Silver Banshee in it. So I'm going to use a lot of different villains, like very much iconic, so like Brainiac. Metallo is going to be in action. But I really want to utilize a lot of the iconic Superman villains while also using some of the lesser known ones, but then we're going to introduce a bunch of really cool new ones. It's a little too early to talk about. But I think some of the art's out there, because Jamal Campbell drew a bunch of amazing designs for these villains, because he is awesome. Yeah.
I'm going to put away the card that says, what can you reveal for the title's first arc?
Oh, yeah, Night of the Parasite, yeah.
So I'll jump into supporting Superman characters. Who can fans expect to see, and who are you looking forward to writing?
Well, I love Lois. I feel like my supporting cast is going to be Lois, Jimmy, and Lex. like the three of them are the major ones. Lois is going through a bit of a job change. This is a bit of a spoiler, but Lois becomes editor-in-chief of the Daily Planet, which for her is a major change. You know, there's a scene in issue 1 where Clark and Jimmy are talking about Clark's deadline. And Jimmy is like, well, I think the new boss is going to go easy on you. And then you hear this, like, think again, all of a sudden, and you think it's Perry. And then you turn the page and it's Lois, and she's just yelling at all the reporters. And she's just like, oh, they're all idiots. Like, she's just very, and then she goes to Clark, and she's like, why did I take this job? And Clark is because, like, if anyone else did this, they would screw it up. It's temporary. But if anyone else did this, they would completely ruin it. Like, you were the only one that knows the Daily Planet. It had to be you. And then she grabs Clark by the tie, and she pulls him in. And she's like, I'm a predator. I hunt stories, and I'm hungry. And then she pulls him in, and she goes, I'm going to eat an intern. So this is where she's at. And there's other things going on with Clark at the same time, but so Lois is always fun to write. I love writing Jimmy Olsen. Poor Jimmy Olsen. We're going to have some fun with him. It'll be fun, I promise.
Poor Jimmy Olsen?
Poor Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen is dating a supervillain and doesn't know. We'll know, but he won't know. And it'll be really fun. That's a very Jimmy Olsen thing. But there's Lex. Also, Mercy Graves is going to be in it. She's going to be in we just announced Lazarus Planet. So she's on Lazarus Planet. She's going to go through something that will also impact the book, but she'll play a major role as well.
All right, and Lazarus Planet, big event coming up. But you're also writing Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, which has both Supermen. We have John Kent and Clark Kent. How has writing both of those two prepared you for your own Superman series?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, it's very much a father-son relationship, I think the dynamic between the two of them, of Superman just being incredibly proud of his son. Like, I was just reading, issue 6 is going to print, so I was rereading issue 6 last night, and they have some this is spoilers, but they have like some really cool emotional moments there between the two of them of, when Clark was gone during Dark Crisis, like John helped hold down the fort. And in issue 6, there's a really big moment for John, without getting too deep into spoilers. John has a very big moment in 6. I don't want to get too into spoilers on that one, but it's a big moment for John that leads to a big moment between father and son. But with that, Action Comics is going to be continuing with Philip Kennedy Johnson. He's going to keep writing it, and his book is really going to focus on the super family. So it'll have like Kara and Kong and Connor, and it will have John in it, and there's other characters I'm not sure if I can talk about yet that are going to be in it. And then Tom Taylor's series with John Kent is actually going to be getting a new #1 called Adventures of Superman with John Kent. That's really exciting. So we have a really big plan for all of it. We're really trying to recapture like the triangle era of Superman where all these books were working together. So with that, it gives me an opportunity to write Clark and John together. Without getting too much into spoilers and what Tom is doing, because what Tom has planned for John Kent is awesome. Yeah.
Now, earlier you mentioned talking about the dawn of the DCU.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Saint-Pierre's cover for Dark Crisis and Infinite Earths #7 has Nightwing looking kind of like Dr. Manhattan, a lot of blue light and stuff going on. What's up with that?
I will say that is a much more symbolic cover than anything. It was so funny because like when we did that cover, it was because part of the story is about legacy, and Nightwing plays a major part of that, and so Nightwing has a very big moment in 7. Don't worry, he's gonna be fine. I promise. I would never. But Nightwing has a really big, like, great moment in the issue, and he's safe. Like, don't worry, Nightwing is totally safe. Okay. And he has a really big moment, so that's why we put him on the cover. And we wanted to include the multiverse. We wanted to show that he's special. And when the cover came out, somebody was like, "There's blue energy around. It means it's Dr. Manhattan." And I was like, "Oh man, no." So no, there's no Manhattan stuff going on. But there's a big, like, emotional stuff with Nightwing going on in that issue.
All right. Well, I'm excited to read it, and I believe that's all the time we have to talk to you. I could go on forever.
Oh, me too. I love to talk about comic books.
Like, you're awesome. I've read all your stuff. It's great.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot.
But anyway, from CBR, I'm Sean. You can pick up Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths #5 now. We have the issue. Oh, there it is.
All right on.
We have the issue here. Look out for the rest of the event through December, and then 2023, your Superman series.
Yes, February. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of your con.
Thank you.